The galaxy was quiet, or at least it appeared that way. Stars burned in their endless silence. Planets moved in their patient orbits. Civilizations went on with trade, politics, and endless wars. Everyone believed they understood the balance of power, the map of empires, and the ranking of species. At the very bottom of that map, almost forgotten, sat humanity. For centuries, humans were considered newcomers. They had only just left their home world called Earth. They built small colonies. They sent small ships into nearby systems. They traded a little here and there, but no one took them seriously. To the galaxy, humanity was weak, poor, and too young to matter. Alien diplomats whispered about Earth as a curiosity. Alien generals dismissed human fleets as nothing but toys. Alien scholars called humans reckless, stubborn, and naive. But none of them expected what was about to happen. None of them imagined that the species they ignored had been hiding something older, something darker, something far more dangerous than anyone could dream. The first rumor spread in the outer rim. It came from a trader ship that claimed to see a shadow moving under Earth's oceans. The shadow was not natural, it was metal, massive, stretching longer than any modern warship. The trader swore it had seen lights deep under the waves, but the report was laughed at, dismissed as a lie to sell stories. Weeks later, another story appeared, this time from explorers near Earth's polar ice. Satellites captured strange heat signatures under the ice sheets, enormous circular patterns too precise to be natural. Some claimed they were ancient bases. Others thought it was new human technology. Once again, the galaxy laughed. How could humans create something powerful? They were barely able to maintain their colonies. Yet the rumors did not stop. They grew, more signals, more sightings. Strange energy bursts hidden under deserts. Deep vibrations under mountains, always around Earth, always hidden. And suddenly the galaxy was no longer laughing. The whispers became fear. The council of great empires gathered in secret halls. Representatives of powerful species argued. Some said the humans were bluffing. Others said it was impossible. But one voice broke through the noise. A historian who specialized in lost records, he reminded them of an old legend, a warning found in ancient archives long before humans reached the stars. It spoke of warships older than civilization itself, left sleeping in a young world, waiting for their guardians to awaken them. The room fell silent. The idea was absurd, but the fear was real. Meanwhile, on Earth, humanity remained quiet. No denial, no confirmation, just silence. And silence was more frightening than words. Silence meant control. Silence meant confidence. The first official sign came 1 year later, in orbit above Earth. The skies lit up as a colossal object rose from the ocean. Water cascaded off its surface. Waves thundered across the seas. The object was no ordinary ship. Its design was alien, yet not like any alien species known today. It was older. The markings on its hull were unreadable. Its structure defied modern engineering. The ship looked less like something built and more like something grown. The galaxy froze. Signals were broadcast across every channel. Every species, every empire, watching in shock, and then humanity spoke. Their message was simple, clear, and terrifying. "We did not build them," the human envoy said, his voice steady. "But we were always their guardians." The words echoed across the stars, and with them came panic. If humans had only shown one ship, how many more were hidden? If they were guardians, who gave them the duty? Who left such machines in their hands, and why were they awakening now? The alien empires that mocked humanity began sending fleets to watch Earth. Scouts, spies, warships, all circling the planet like vultures. Some wanted to steal the technology, some wanted to destroy it before it was used, and some only wanted to understand. But none of them felt safe. Humanity stayed calm. They did not explain further. They let the galaxy's fear grow, and the fear grew like fire. Every citizen in every world whispered the same question. How could a species so young own warships older than civilizations? How could humanity hide such power for so long? And perhaps the darkest question of all, if humans were guardians, then who were the ships built to fight? The galaxy held its breath, waiting as the shadow of Earth grew larger and darker than ever before. The galaxy was not used to mysteries. Most things could be explained by science, by history, or by war. But what surrounded Earth now could not be explained so easily. Strange signals, strange patterns, strange silence, and above all, the strange behavior of humanity. At first, it was explorers who noticed. Their small survey ships drifted near the solar system. They were not searching for humans. They were looking for minerals. But their scanners caught something unusual. A massive energy surge under the Sahara Desert. Too large to be a mine, too steady to be natural, when the explorers tried to report it. Their transmission broke, they vanished. Their ship was never found. Next came the divers from the aquatic species called Tavorn. They were hired to study Earth's oceans for trade routes. The Tavorn were experts at deep water pressure. They went down further than any human submarine could safely reach. They expected to find only rocks, magma vents, and life forms. Instead, they saw a metallic wall stretching endlessly in the dark. Glowing symbols ran across its surface like veins of light. The divers fled in terror, but only one returned. The others never resurfaced. The survivor told a story that spread across every corner of the galaxy. He said the wall was not a structure, it was a hull, the hull of a ship so vast it could swallow cities, perhaps continents. He said he felt vibrations as if something was alive inside, breathing, waiting. The council laughed at him, called him mad, but many listened and many believed. Soon after, satellites belonging to another empire captured images of strange circular doors under Antarctica's ice. The doors were miles wide, buried deep, but their shape was too perfect, too exact. The image was leaked to the Galactic net, and for the first time the people of the galaxy themselves saw what the leaders tried to hide. Everywhere fear spread. Alien children asked their parents if humans were hiding monsters. Traders refused to land near Earth. Smugglers avoided the system. Even the criminal cartels who once used Earth as a secret stop pulled away. And yet the humans remained silent, always silent. What disturbed the galaxy even more was that humanity never denied anything. They never explained. They never tried to calm the fear. Instead, they acted like keepers of a secret too large to speak aloud. But not all aliens stayed away. Some came closer, greedy, desperate, and curious. One empire, the Ordan Dominion, sent an entire science fleet to orbit Earth. They claimed they were only there for observation, but in truth they wanted to dig, to steal, to uncover what humanity hid. For weeks their scanners circled and they found something. Deep under the Rocky Mountains of North America, the Dominion detected vibrations, not earthquakes, not mining, but steady pulses like a heartbeat. The Ordan commander laughed. He announced the humans were sitting on old engines, relics from some forgotten era. He ordered his fleet to prepare. He wanted to land soldiers, to take the relics by force, but before they could, every one of their ships went dark. Not destroyed, not damaged, just silent. Powerless, drifting. The humans did nothing. At least not visibly. No weapon was fired, no ship moved. Yet the Dominion's fleet floated like dead metal in orbit. Days later, the humans allowed them to leave. Their ships came back to life one by one, crawling away like beaten animals. The message was clear. More discoveries followed. A historian uncovered an old record in the ruins of a fallen empire. It spoke of a blue planet where the sleeping titans rested, a world chosen as a cradle for guardians. It warned that when the titans stirred, the galaxy would tremble again. The record matched Earth. The description was exact by now. No one laughed at the humans anymore. The galaxy was filled with unease, but curiosity burned even stronger than fear. For if the humans truly had such warships hidden, then what ancient war had they been meant for? Inside Earth, humanity gathered in silence. Their leaders spoke to no one. Their people asked no questions, for they already knew, they had always known. Since the first explorers of Earth's deep oceans, since the first scientists who drilled too far into the mountains, since the first satellites that showed strange doors in the ice, the truth was simple: humanity had never been alone. Their world had never truly belonged only to them. Under their oceans, under their deserts, under their mountains and ice lay the guardians of an older age, machines waiting for a reason to rise again. And now, with the galaxy watching, that reason was drawing near. The strange discoveries were no longer just stories, no longer rumors. They were warnings, and humanity, calm and silent, stood as the keepers of those warnings, waiting for the day they would no longer be able to keep them hidden. The galaxy trembled at the thought. The galaxy had lived on rumors long enough, but rumors could only last so long before truth forced its way into the light. Humanity had been silent, their lips sealed, their eyes steady, their movements calm. But silence can be more dangerous than shouting. Silence means a plan. Silence means control. And the galaxy was about to learn just how much control humanity truly held. It began on an ordinary day, no warning, no speeches, only a shadow falling across the skies of Earth. Telescopes across colonies and empires caught it first, a mass rising from the oceans, water rushing down like waterfalls. lightning crackling in the atmosphere as if nature itself feared what was emerging. At first the object seemed too vast to be real. Its surface black but gleaming like stone polished by time, markings carved deep into its skin, symbols older than any alien alphabet. The ship did not look built. It looked awakened, as if it had been sleeping, waiting under the waves. Every major empire turned their eyes toward the feed. Millions, then billions, then trillions across the stars watched as the ship climbed higher, leaving the ocean boiling behind it. Human vessels followed it like insects trailing a giant. Tiny compared to its sheer bulk, the comparison was terrifying. The Galactic Council sent an emergency demand. They wanted answers. They wanted to know what this was, how humans had it, and why it was being brought into orbit. For once humanity answered, and their answer shook the galaxy. A human envoy appeared on every transmission channel. His voice was calm, his face emotionless. Behind him floated the massive ship, a titan in the void. "We did not build them," the envoy said, "but we were always their guardians." The words spread like fire through the stars. Panic followed. Arguments erupted across alien governments. Some screamed that humans were lying. Others shouted that the ship was proof of an ancient pact. Some even feared that humanity itself was older than it seemed, a species hiding in plain sight. But the humans did not explain further. They offered no history, no origin, only silence once again. The alien scientists tried to study the footage. They measured the size of the ship, over 30 kilometers in length, its hull material unknown, its energy readings unstable. Even their most advanced scanners could not penetrate its skin. It was as if the ship rejected their gaze, turning back every attempt like a mirror. Then came the moment that silenced even the loudest doubters. As the ship drifted into orbit, it unfolded, its outer layers shifting, plates sliding, glowing veins of light racing across its body. Weapons older than empires revealed themselves. Cannons that could crack moons, shields that shimmered like suns, and then, with a roar that shook Earth's skies and rattled space itself, the ship powered up. One beam of light cut through the void, harmless, directed at nothing, yet powerful enough to trigger alarms in stations thousands of kilometers away. It was a warning, not an attack. A message written in energy. The galaxy finally believed. The arrogant species that once mocked humans fell silent. The merchants who called them weak began pulling their fleets back. Even the warlords who dreamed of conquest hesitated, for they understood that if this was only one ship, then humanity's silence had hidden something far greater. And still the humans gave no number, no count, no promise. They showed only one, letting the galaxy imagine how many more waited under oceans, under ice, under stone. The uncertainty was worse than the truth, because the mind of the galaxy filled in the shadows with fear. In distant halls, alien leaders gathered. Their voices shook with anger and fear. Some called for alliances with humans. Others called for war before humanity could grow too strong. But even those who shouted for war fell quiet when they asked themselves a simple question. Could their fleets even survive one of those ships? Meanwhile, human citizens across colonies and Earth stood proud. For the first time, their name was not spoken with laughter. For the first time, aliens did not look down. They looked up, in awe, in fear, in respect. But the greatest fear came from what was not said. If humanity had guarded these ships in silence, if they had kept them hidden through centuries, then why reveal them now? Why break the silence at this moment in time? What was coming that forced humans to show their hand? Across the galaxy in hidden archives, ancient warnings were reread. Old prophecies whispered, when the guardians wake, so too does the storm they were meant to face. The galaxy trembled at the thought. The reveal had begun, but it was only the beginning. The galaxy could not stay silent forever. The reveal of the ancient warship had shaken every empire. But fear does not always bring peace. Sometimes fear brings arrogance, and arrogance always brings conflict. Among the many species who watched Earth with unease, the most dangerous were the Korath Empire. The Korath were proud, cruel, and ancient. Their fleets stretched across hundreds of systems. Their generals believed no one could challenge them. They laughed at the panic of others, and they saw the human reveal not as a warning, but as an insult. How can a young species frighten us with toys? One Korath warlord sneered. If they truly have power, let them prove it against us. His words became law, and the Empire prepared to test humanity. The Korath sent a fleet of 50 warships into the Sol system. They declared it was only an exercise, but everyone knew the truth. It was a show of dominance, a warning to humanity that they should not play with powers beyond their reach. On Earth, humanity did not panic. There were no desperate calls for help, no scrambling fleets. Instead, the ancient ship that had risen from the oceans remained silent, floating in orbit like a giant watching the stars. Humanity let the Korath approach, their silence more unnerving than any weapon. The Korath commander sent his message. "Leave the ship, surrender it to us, or we will take it by force." His voice thundered across the channels. The galaxy leaned in to listen. Everyone waited for humanity's response, but none came. The humans said nothing. The Korath commander grew bold. He ordered his fleet to move closer. Their weapons powered up. Energy signatures burned bright across scanners. The galaxy's heart raced. It was the first time anyone had openly challenged the humans since the reveal. Then it happened. The ancient ship stirred, its dark hull lit with rivers of light, golden and blue veins spreading across its body. Shields unfolded like wings, and a low hum shook the very orbit around Earth. The Korath fleet hesitated, but their pride would not let them retreat. The commander laughed. "One ship against 50. Let them try." The war began in silence. No declarations, no strategy, only a beam. A single shot from the ancient ship. The energy was blinding. Scanners screamed warnings, and one Korath warship simply ceased to exist. Erased from reality. No wreckage, no flames. Only empty space where it once stood. The Korath fleet roared back, 50 ships firing at once. Beams of plasma, storms of missiles. Weapons that had conquered countless worlds. The void lit up with destruction. But when the light faded, the ancient ship still floated unharmed. Its shields shimmered like a calm ocean, as if the attack had been nothing more than raindrops. Another beam fired, then another, each one slicing through the Korath fleet. Ships vanished one by one, panic spread. The commander screamed for retreat, but retreat was too late. Within minutes, the fleet was broken, scattered fragments drifting through space. Their arrogance burned into nothing. The galaxy watched in horror. The lesson was clear. This was only one ship, and even 50 warships of a great empire were nothing before it. But the strangest moment came after the battle. The ancient ship did not pursue the fleeing survivors. It did not finish them. Instead, it powered down, returning to silence. Humanity allowed the broken ships to limp away, as if the battle had only been a demonstration, not a war. The message was louder than destruction. Humanity could have killed them all, but chose not to. The galaxy understood the meaning. The humans were not reckless children with a dangerous weapon. They were guardians, deliberate, measured, and terrifying in their restraint. The Korath Empire was humiliated, their pride shattered. Their citizens whispered that the age of Korath dominance was ending. Their leaders tried to spin the loss as a misunderstanding, but the truth was too large to hide. Every species now knew that humanity's reveal was not a bluff, not a trick, but reality. And yet, questions grew darker. If one ship could destroy a fleet, how many more waited under Earth's oceans and mountains? If humans had kept them hidden for centuries, then why awaken one now? Was this conflict only the beginning? Alien historians returned again to their old warnings. When the Guardians strike, it is not for themselves, but for the storm that follows. The words spread like a shadow, whispering into every corner of the galaxy. The first conflict had ended, but it was only the first. For the galaxy now understood something chilling. The humans had not revealed the ship to boast. They had revealed it to prepare, and what they were preparing for had not yet arrived. The Korath defeat spread across the stars like fire racing through dry grass. News channels replayed the destruction again and again. 50 warships erased in minutes by only one vessel. A ship that should not exist, a ship older than any empire alive. The galaxy had mocked humanity once, but no one was laughing now. Fear became the air every species breathed. Traders whispered nervously as they docked in ports. Children asked their parents if humans were monsters. Rulers met in secret, arguing until their voices broke. No one could deny the truth anymore. The humans had power, ancient and absolute. Some empires trembled, afraid that they were next. Their spies reported strange readings around Earth every week. Sometimes from deserts, sometimes from deep oceans, sometimes from under frozen poles, as if more of the ancient ships were stirring. If one could destroy 50 warships, how many would it take to bring an entire empire to its knees? Others did not only fear, they plotted, they saw opportunity. The Valari Republic, always pragmatic, sent envoys to Earth with words of peace. They offered trade, they offered alliance, they spoke of cooperation, but their hearts burned with greed. If they could stand close to humans, If they could learn even a fraction of that technology, their power would double, maybe triple. The Zath Collective was more careful. They were a network of minds bound together. They did not send ships or soldiers. They sent whispers. They spread messages into human colonies asking for partnership, promising loyalty, promising safety. Their fear was honest. They did not want war. They wanted protection. But not all alliances were clean. In the shadow of the galaxy, a group of lesser empires gathered in secret. They were too weak to challenge humans alone, but together they dreamed of a desperate strike. If they could unite their fleets, perhaps they could destroy the humans before more ships awakened. But deep inside, even as they planned, they trembled, for none of them truly believed they could win. Humanity watched all of this unfold with calm silence. Their leaders made no speeches. Their fleets did not expand. Their colonies did not rush into war. They simply let the galaxy move, let the galaxy burn with fear. Their silence was louder than any weapon. What shook the galaxy most were the old records, forgotten legends suddenly remembered. Historians pulled dusty data from ancient ruins. Stories of sleeping war machines left in the care of a blue world, a world far from the galactic core, a world meant to guard, not conquer. One record from the archives of the fallen Athari Empire even described the ships exactly. Black as night, carved with symbols of fire, wings of light folded in silence. The match to what the humans revealed was perfect. For many, this was no longer a question of how. But why? Why would such weapons be hidden on Earth? Why would humanity be chosen as guardians? And above all, why were the ships waking now? The galaxy panicked, alliances grew desperate. Even rivals tried to make peace, the Arthan Confederacy. Enemies of the Valari for centuries suddenly reached out to them saying, if the humans are truly guardians, then perhaps there is something coming that none of us can face alone. Their words were repeated in 100 languages across 1,000 systems, and still humanity remained silent. The panic only grew worse, because silence leaves room for imagination, and imagination is often more terrifying than truth. Merchants whispered that the humans would unleash the ships upon the galaxy. Prophets shouted in streets that the end of days had come. Warlords armed themselves, fearing they were targets, and yet deep down everyone knew. Humans were not using these ships recklessly. They were holding them, waiting, guarding. The silence became unbearable. So unbearable that even the Galactic Council itself fractured. Some demanded war, saying humanity could not be trusted. Others demanded peace, saying humanity must be courted, bribed, allied. A few wise ones said the scariest words of all. Perhaps this is not about humans at all. Perhaps the ships were never built for us, those words echoed, chilling every hall. For if the ships were built as guardians, then guardians must be guarding against something, and if they were waking now, it meant that something was drawing near. Humanity did not deny it, humanity did not explain. Humanity only let the galaxy stew in its own fear, and in doing so, humanity became the center of everything. The galaxy, once divided by greed, war, and politics, was now united by a single question. What terrible enemy had been powerful enough to require warships before civilizations? And why were the humans the ones holding them? The panic spread, alliances formed. Enemies shook hands. Rivals stood shoulder to shoulder, and all eyes turned toward the small blue world that had once been ignored. Humanity had revealed only one ship, and it was enough to change everything. The galaxy thought they had seen enough. The reveal of the ancient warship, the destruction of the Korath fleet, the spreading panic and desperate alliances, all of it was already changing the balance of power. Yet whispers began to surface that the truth ran even deeper, far deeper than anyone had feared. At first it was a leak, a stolen transmission from a human research station near Mars. The message was short, fragmented, but enough to set the galaxy on fire. It claimed that the humans had not only found these ships in recent years, they had been using them quietly for centuries. The idea was unthinkable, but evidence began to appear. Historians re-examined strange events across the past 1,000 years. Small battles where enemy fleets vanished without explanation, pirate armadas destroyed in storms that left no wreckage, sudden disappearances of powerful warlords who threatened Earth. Until now, these were dismissed as natural disasters, as accidents, as chance, but the new whispers painted a different picture. What if it had been humanity all along? What if the Guardians had not been asleep, but awake, only hidden, striking from the shadows, ensuring humanity survived every danger until the right time? One scholar from the Zath Collective presented a theory that shocked even his own people. He showed records of trade wars from centuries ago, Moments where weak human colonies should have fallen, yet survived not through luck but through intervention. Signals lost, fleets destroyed, enemies erased. The Guardians have always been there, he said. They were invisible hands shaping history. The idea spread like wildfire. Suddenly the galaxy's fear turned into something colder. Not just fear of power, but fear of manipulation. If humans had used the ships before, if they had secretly guided events, then how much of galactic history was real and how much was quietly written by them? In the great halls of the Galactic Council, leaders argued, some shouted that humans had deceived them, others whispered that perhaps humanity had saved them. Perhaps wars that ended suddenly, disasters that stopped without reason, were not luck at all. Perhaps without the hidden guardians, entire empires would have already fallen. The humans themselves said nothing. They neither confirmed nor denied. They let the galaxy drown in its own doubts, and silence once again became their greatest weapon. Meanwhile, spies tried harder than ever to infiltrate Earth. They wanted proof, they wanted numbers. How many ships were there? How long had they been active? But spies vanished, every one of them. No signals, no bodies, only silence. Then another mystery surfaced, darker than the rest. A forgotten archive from the fallen Ithari Empire was unearthed by chance. Within it lay fragments of a prophecy. It spoke of keepers of iron titans who would one day rise when the sky darkened, and it claimed those keepers were not the builders, but the chosen, selected by something older than empires, older than stars. The archive raised more questions than answers. Who chose the humans? Why Earth? Why now? The galaxy trembled with unease, and then came the most chilling revelation of all. A transmission surfaced from deep space. Its origin unknown, its language ancient, decoded only in fragments, but one phrase repeated clearly. The Guardians must be ready. The enemy stirs. The transmission was traced back to a sector long abandoned, a dead region of space where stars no longer shone. Some said it was coincidence. Some said it was fake, but deep inside no one truly believed that. The timing was too perfect, too sharp, too cruel. If humans had been hiding these ships for centuries, if they had quietly used them to shape history, if they were awakening them now, then it could only mean one thing. The storm that the Guardians were built to face was drawing near, and humanity, silent and steady, was already preparing. Across the galaxy, empires trembled. Their fleets seemed small, their weapons weak, their politics childish. Compared to what was coming, some begged to ally with humans, some plotted to betray them. But all of them felt the same truth in their bones. The humans had never been weak, they had only been waiting. And the deeper mystery was not how many ships lay hidden, not how long they had been awake, but what enemy could terrify an ancient civilization enough to create such weapons? What darkness could demand guardians this powerful? The galaxy whispered, the galaxy panicked, but humanity kept its silence, letting fear grow, letting mystery spread, their calm eyes hiding secrets no one dared to uncover. The truth was simple, yet terrible. The warships were not humanity's greatest secret. The greatest secret was the reason they existed, and that reason had not yet revealed itself. The galaxy had lived in fear for months. Whispers of ancient ships, proof of their power, rumors of hidden manipulation. Every empire was restless, every citizen uneasy, and yet through all of it humanity remained silent, calm, unshaken. The silence itself had become unbearable, but silence cannot last forever, and when it finally broke, the galaxy changed forever. It began with lights, one by one across Earth. Across oceans, deserts, and mountains, beams of energy rose into the sky, glowing pillars piercing the night. From orbit, the sight was terrifying. The entire planet looked alive, a living beacon waking from slumber. The first ship had already shown the galaxy its strength, but now dozens rose from their prisons, waves crashing as titans tore free from the seas, ice splitting apart as giants broke through frozen walls, mountains trembling as hidden doors opened to release dark silhouettes that had slept for ages. In orbit, satellites shook with interference. Scanners failed. No one could measure the numbers. No one could track them all. It was chaos, but one thing was clear. Humanity was no longer revealing one ship. They were revealing their entire fleet. The galaxy's channels overflowed. Rulers demanded answers. Soldiers trembled. Ordinary people prayed, and the humans finally gave their answer. On every broadcast, on every frequency, the same voice spoke, steady, calm, unafraid. "We were never late to the stars," the envoy said. "We were preparing for what comes next." The words echoed like thunder. The ships aligned in orbit. Hundreds of them, black against the stars, symbols glowing like fire, each one older than empires, each one humming with power enough to unmake worlds. Their presence alone was enough to silence the galaxy. The Korath, who once mocked humanity, now hid their fleets, the Valari, who begged for alliance, now shook in fear, the Zath collective, who whispered of protection, now stared in awe. Every species, every empire, understood that they were children standing before giants. But the humans had not unleashed these ships to conquer. They had not used them to demand tribute. Instead, their words carried a deeper weight. For centuries we kept them hidden, the envoy said, because the galaxy was not ready. Because you were not ready, but now the storm stirs, and we cannot face it alone. The phrase, "the storm stirs," spread like lightning. No one knew what it meant, but everyone felt its shadow. Something older than empires, something darker than wars, something so terrible that an ancient civilization had left guardians behind to hold it back. The revelation was worse than fear, it was truth. Humanity had not revealed their power to boast. They had revealed it because they had no choice. The warships were not weapons of pride. They were weapons of survival across the galaxy. Panic and hope fought for control. Some empires screamed that humans were lying, using fear to gain power. Others begged to be taken under their protection. Others tried to hide, but deep in their hearts, they all knew. The storm was real. The guardians were real, and humanity was at the center of it. Alien historians cried as they connected the last pieces. Records of vanished stars, collapsed sectors, sudden voids in the galaxy's past. Maybe those were not natural disasters. Maybe those were battles. Battles fought by the same ships now floating above Earth. Battles lost, battles that erased entire civilizations. The silence broke into terror. And yet humanity's calm voice continued. "We are not your enemies," the envoy said. "We are your shield, but the shield cannot hold forever alone. The enemy that comes will not see borders, will not see empires, it will only see prey. And if we fall divided, we fall forever." The galaxy trembled. Leaders whispered to one another. Enemies glared at rivals. And slowly, the truth settled in. Humanity had not asked for alliance, they had demanded it. Not through threats, but through truth. Through the sight of hundreds of titans awakened at once. Through the shadow of the storm that was coming, the final revelation was clear. The warships were not a secret weapon for conquest. They were a warning, a signal that the time of waiting was over, a call for the galaxy to unite or to vanish. And so the story of humanity changed forever. No longer weak, no longer ignored. They stood as guardians of something greater, keepers of machines older than stars, standing not for themselves but for all, but still. One question haunted the galaxy, a question no one dared to speak aloud. If this was the fleet humanity had hidden, if this was their preparation, then what kind of enemy would demand such a defense? And somewhere, far in the dark beyond the maps of known space, something stirred. The guardians had awakened, and the storm was coming.